afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the country and around the world. How are you? How are you? How are you? If you woke up today, then today is a great day, especially with what the topic is tonight. Another shooting with an AR-15, a military style weapon in the hands of a suspected, alleged gunman who happens to be an Army reservist who is currently still on the run. There is a massive, intensive manhunt for this gentleman. In fact, I think the update was they were surrounding his house or the area of his home. This gentleman is accused of killing 18 people Wednesday night and injuring at least 13 with an AR-15. Again, we know that weapon to be a very dangerous weapon. It kills a lot of people very quickly. And of course, that's exactly what happened. In a matter of seconds, these people have lost their lives, these innocent folks. That's what we're going to be talking about today. How have you guys been? How have your week has been? I hope everything has been okay. I am back. I as well had some drama in my family. I had to deal with a couple of funerals, all within the family, all within the week. And so that's been a little bit draining on me these last couple of days. But life goes on as we try to go through what we've gone through and prepare for what we will be going through. So before we get into today's topic, let's bring in our panel. Little diva, Miss Trina herself from Chat with Trina podcast on YouTube. And then we have Louisiana country boy, Mr. Donnie himself, and radio personality, Miss Ovita from the Vita Talks podcast. Welcome everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm
Good.
okay. I'm over here trying to fight the weather this whatever's going around. I'm trying to
Got a
fight.
little got a little cold
I,
there. Got a little
I
cold.
got it.
All right, but
Yes.
you're doing what's right. I see you got that little tea with you. And
Hmm.
that is
Yes, I got 5 tea bags in there.
all
Fighting
right.
everything. Okay.
All right. I see Country Boy has dropped off, but when he gets the opportunity to join us again, I'm sure he'll do that. In the meantime, we'll go on with the top four discussion. Um, in regard to this shooting, another shooting, ladies, this time in the state of Maine. It's got a lot of people talking because usually, folks will say these things are happening in red states, but no, not really. In fact, these shootings are happening in all states,
Sure.
right? Every single one of them. It's just that not everyone gets national attention. Um, but in this case, this one has got national attention. An intensive manhunt still underway for a suspect from yesterday's killing in Maine. 18 people shot dead by an AR style military weapon, 13 injured. This happened in Lewiston, Maine. I've never heard of that. Isn't it interesting that you don't know any of these places until something happens, and then you never forget
Yes.
these places, right?
To be honest with
Never
you, I'm
heard.
laughing because that's true, but also it's some rappers. These names, I be like, who are they talking about? So,
Right. Right.
Yes.
Right. For example, in Texas, Trina, who the hell ever heard of Uvalde before that happened?
before that, we have
Nobody.
a Duvalde Street, but that's it.
I
And
don't
now,
even know who Uvalde is.
right, right. And now I can't get that name out my brain. As
Uvalde,
soon as
yeah.
someone says it, soon as someone says that name, you can pinpoint what happened, when,
Hmm.
who, where,
Where you
how,
were.
and
Wow.
where you were. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, so this gentleman alleged suspect. His name is Robert Card. He's 40 years old. He's an
Yeah.
Army reservist. And they've even said that friends of his has said that he was a very good shooter, very good Army serviceman. He knew exactly how to shoot a gun, and what
Yes.
to do with it. So I was wondering when I heard that was this practice for him? Some servicemen from the militaries that undergo PSTD
Mm-hmm.
or have some kind of mental unstableness, they act out in strange ways, and sometimes this is one of them. Being an insurrectionist is another one. Where they get to show their anger, show their frustrations or depressions,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is that is on their minds, that's within their souls that perhaps they took from being, in the army or part of the military establishment. It does things to you psychologically, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
is this the way to relieve your frustrations, right?
Right.
I don't think so. Okay, before we get into our discussion, let's play this video and we'll talk on the other side.
News out of Maine, where a mass shooter is on the loose. His former colleague just told CNN, this is new information we're getting, told CNN that he is a skilled marksman and outdoorsman who was among the best shooters in his Army Reserve unit. CNN's Tom Foreman is tracking everything we know about this manhunt. Tom, what can you tell us about the area that law enforcement is searching right now?
Well, I can tell you, Dana, that it is growing by the hour. Remember, this was 7 o'clock last night when this all started, according to authorities. We're now at least 15 hours and change beyond that. And we know that it started in a relatively limited location. Just-in-time recreation up here, that's the bowling alley, Schmingy's Bar and Grill restaurant. This is only about 4 miles apart. But then, pretty soon, it expanded out here to this area where the vehicle was found. That's about 8 miles from the town. So now we're in a position where they're really having to look wider and wider, potentially, depending on when he's moving. Think about what you just said about what this person may know here. If we look at the suspect, Robert Card, certified firearms instructor, member of the U.S. Army Reserve, made threats to carry out a shooting at National Guard facility earlier on, according to authorities, and reporting mental health issues, including hearing voices. If you look at all of that, you combine it with that information you just reported there, the idea that this is somebody who may know the outdoors very well, who may be very skilled at this, you understand how this shooting, this really changes the approach that law enforcement has to take to him. They're always going to go into cases like.
So there you have it, a little recap or rundown on this situation, on this story, and what has been happening since last Wednesday. Trina, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on just guns? Period.
I just really think that the like those AR-15s, those military rifles, how are they getting them? It needs to be a ban on them because it's ridiculous that they're not using little pow pow guns to kill people. They're using those. That's what they're taking out so many people at one time. And I'm a firm believer of banning those guns. And I think it's really crazy that they're not. But I do want to say one thing is that I was reading, and what is his name? The Maine governor, Janet Mills. Wait a minute, no,
Yeah.
I'm not. No, that's not. One of them, I think I have the wrong name.
No,
One of
Governor
them,
Mills.
Golden, said that they've been opposing deadly weapons of war, assault rifles, and now they're deciding to change their mind because it says the time has come now for me to take responsibility for this failure, which is why I now call on the U.S. to ban assault rifles. That's Golden. I think that's who is she? Representative Jared Golden of Maine. and he was a
Okay.
Marine Corps veteran. Which I was saying that to say, at least someone is changing their mind about banning those weapons.
In that state.
And yeah, that's true. Yeah,
In
and
that
that's
state. Well, I mean, that's progress. So,
it's a start.
will it solve everything? Not no. But it's progress. At least it's positive in someone talking about doing something
Hmm.
that perhaps could prevent the next type of uh, uh,
And yeah, but in my mind, when I read that, what stood out to me was that it's somebody that was fighting against banning, and they're
right.
changing their mind. That's
And
what,
changing their mind.
yeah, it'll start small, but we got to start small. Got to start with a seed, planting the seed. But at least this is someone that was hardcore. I ain't giving up my gun. Now and this person was a former Marine Corps person as well, so that's a big
It's
deal.
funny that you say that because I get comments all the time of folks that may not be so sympathetic to the situation, but
Hmm.
they'll say, um, why don't any of these massive gun killings happen to Congress people's families? That perhaps if a gunman, a crazy person, decided to take his gun and go to the school where your
Hmm.
congressperson sends her children, maybe that
Maybe that would
congressperson
change their mind.
might
That
be a
part,
little bit more empathetic to
empathetic.
what's happening, because it
That
doesn't
part.
seem like it's moving anything for them as everybody else's children
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
family members are
Hmm.
being murdered, right?
Sometimes it has to knock at your door.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
has to knock at your door. What do you
Yeah.
think, Ovita?
I just want to know what's the reason to have those guns outside of war. I mean, why? You know, it everything boils down to it. The truth is money. People don't care about people's
Yeah.
safety. They just care about the money. When I just look at these government and the people that's in power, what it comes down to, they don't care about children's safety. They don't care about people's safety. And to me, even with people coming from out of war or retiring from the military, and especially that have been active, to me, they need to make sure that they have a psych evaluation every time before they go home. I mean, a thorough. It seems like they should have to go through some type of therapy, even if they're fine. Just some type of routine therapy to make sure that they're okay coming out of that situation, because that is something to transition from civilian life to being in the military to coming back
Absolutely.
to being a civilian. They can never go back to truly those who really been in war come back the same. I've heard them say they won't come back the same because of what they had to do and what they have seen over there. I know that would mess up a regular person's
And
civilian's mind. Come on.
yes, yes,
Yeah, I
that's a
think they
great
should have
point.
some
That's
aftercare.
a great point. That's definitely a great
Yeah.
point. Let's get in Louisiana Country Boy's opinion up in here if he's ready to join us. Let's see. Hey there. Welcome
Hey,
to
hey, hey,
the
hey,
show.
hey. Boy, look, y'all got a heated one right here. Old country boy, I won't pop up in here long, but I'm gonna say this right here. First and foremost, I am from the country. I'm a diehard country boy. I came up in the country where when we drove around, there was always a rifle in the back of the truck. So I came up under that. I came up a whole different way. My philosophy, my thinking is whole different. One, and this may aggravate some folks. But one, I've never seen a gun kill anybody. I've seen the person behind the trigger. So we talk about taking guns off the streets. But here's the other thing old country boys say. If the guns are on the street, how they get there? If the guns are in the hands of these people, how they get there? Because that fella right there, and none of these mass killers or anything else, they didn't go out here and develop these guns. Somebody did, and somehow they got them. See, if you want to start somewhere, let's start with how it got in.
Right.
We
Absolutely.
talking about taking it out, but if you're taking it out and you ain't, let me tell you something. What I know is this: a criminal, if he wants to get something, he gonna get it.
Right.
He gonna
But
get it.
but many on the right say that's why there shouldn't be so many gun laws because of what you just said. The criminal is going to always find a way of getting that gun, legally or illegally. So when you create more and more gun laws, you're stopping or prohibiting the lawful person from maintaining a gun, and
Exactly.
that makes a lot of sense, but it's still putting too many guns out there for anyone to just grab.
Well, here's the thing. I go back to that. What you say, I agree, but it says putting them out there. No, why don't you go to the manufacturer? Let's go again. Let's go to the gut of the beast. If you wanna stop me from having it, I can't have it if you don't make it.
And then I was thinking about what you were saying. Like a rifle is different than an automatic gun. That's the thing. What do you need? Like you said, we used to people from got the rifles. They hunting and stuff like that. But what do you need a military style gun out on the streets for? Why do you need that other than? And like you said, where are the people on the streets getting them from?
There it
I
is.
can see someone from the military being able to get something like that faster than, someone like me because they have a military background. You know what I'm saying? So they probably can get away with that a little more than maybe myself, getting a military style gun.
Do you ever stop and want to try to get into a shooter's brain mindset
Right.
as to why, what makes them want to take that gun that they have with them in their house and go outside and go aim to kill someone, to end someone else's life? Why not their own life if they're so distraught and miserable?
Well, with him, he was hearing voices, so he probably was schizophrenic. Most of schizophrenic people hear voices and stuff like that. He has a mental disorder, so we never know as far as him. Something probably telling him, that they're trying to get him. So he's not really of a sound mind. So I can see how he can go and maybe shoot a lot of people because he's not in a sound mind. He don't know what voices are in his head telling him who these people are. I've worked with many schizophrenics and bipolar. I've worked with a lot of those people. If you would hear some of the stories, people telling them demons speaking to them. They walking on heads. They walking in rain. I mean, I've heard so many stories from those particular people suffering from those mental disorders. So he's not even of sound mind. We don't know what the people
Mm-mm.
his head saying those people are. They could be out to get him, his family. It could be monsters. That's the scary thing with that. With that is people that have mental disorders too getting those guns. Is
Now,
is
Did
really
y'all?
dangerous.
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Trina.
Did y'all know that they had surrounded his house now?
Yes,
Yes,
that's the
Yeah.
update that they're
That
surrounding.
earlier?
Um, but I haven't heard whether he was there or
right. I haven't heard that either.
Hmm.
have you heard any updates on this country boy?
I have not. If I can say one thing, and what just triggered in my mind, what I just thought about was we did a show a while back about what was it, the judge that had all the guns in the house that ended up killing his wife. Okay, here we have this. When nobody sees, nobody hears that these people are going through something. Yes, they should be held accountable, but there's nobody around. Somebody, because I've heard the report. Somebody said that he was talking to himself or talk. If these were things that were occurring, let me tell you something. This is how I feel about it. They just as guilty as he is when he pulled the trigger. To say nothing is to say something.
but people are scared to get involved. People are scared to mind someone else's business. People are scared to be wrong. In the case, maybe that person just had a bad day. How do you balance it?
Or what can
Sometimes,
someone do? What can someone do if I know that my brother that's over the age of them doing anything to him, hey, something's going on with him. They do a wellness check and they say, oh, everything looks fine to me, and they roll out. So we don't know if they had said anything, because sometimes they
well,
do. They do a
I know
wellness
you
check,
people.
find nothing wrong. That so in their
Yeah.
minds, nothing wrong, and they move on.
Go ahead,
And then
Vita.
sometimes people haven't displayed like rate those like that level of rage or disorder. Sometimes you never know until they hit that plateau, and then they off. Then you go see this. He probably wasn't displaying that much change. He probably was having nightmares. We don't know exactly, but sometimes you never know. Sometimes do you know most people you work with, some of them have the same disorders. You just don't know. They
You
taking
just don't know.
medication. You don't
Right.
know
But
when
I be
someone is
watching
going
out
to
for them
snap off. You
people.
can't even prepare. Yeah, you can't even prepare for that. Really?
It's it's
How
a
can you prepare
scary
for
thought.
someone to snap? Yes.
It is a scary thought because you don't know who you live next to. You
You
don't
do
know who
not.
you're going to school with. You don't know who you
No.
work
Who
with.
you working
You
with?
don't if you're riding on the train, you don't know who that person is sitting right next to you or on the
No.
bus. It's a
And that's
scary
why
world.
it is.
No.
And I know on a lighter note, I just have to say that's why sometimes you got to be careful what you're doing at work. You don't know who's
Yes.
on medication and ain't took their medication that day.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Well,
know, go ahead, country boy.
I was just gonna say this: if I'm at work and somebody say they leaving and I'll be back, I ain't gonna be there. Now, if you want to sit around there, if they don't walk out, they done stormed out and say I'll be back, and you stay there, that's on you. Oh, country boy ain't gonna be there. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be in the car. And I'm going on down the road. Let me tell you what the facts is. I ain't finna sit there and wait on you to come back. No.
Right.
Well, they do say that black people are known to just getting the hell up out of there.
Listen.
That on
See,
occasion it might
We need
Put me in for
others
my
might want to
PTO.
stay around and just to see what's going to happen. I'm
I'm
not
taking
one
my
of
PT.
those.
I'm
I ain't
taking my
trying to see.
PTO. Now give me a
Y'all can
PTO
talk.
time.
Y'all can let me know later. Call me at home later
Yes,
on and tell me what went down.
yes,
man.
I'll take a write up for that one.
I
Yep.
agree. I agree. But in situations like this where we don't have control over our own lives at that very moment, it's sad because you're gone in a second over someone else's mental instability, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Can't
question
you don't know.
question to all of y'all. Ovita, you're from Illinois. Trina and Country Boy, you're from Texas. Do you guys know anybody or any family who has been affected directly from gun violence?
Absolutely.
And the reason why I ask because they're saying that gun violence is so prevalent now that um, it's becoming like a how do you say a group?
An epidemic.
No, it's definitely an epidemic, but there
Yeah.
are so
Yeah.
many affected by gun violence now that they have their own club. There you go. They have their own
Oh, like
club
a support
within
group. They have
themselves,
support group.
family members, and
Yeah.
yes, where
Yeah.
everyone
Oh
can
yeah.
band
They have
together
yeah.
and lean on each other's shoulder
Yeah.
because
Mhm. Yep.
there's gun violence happening every day.
Everywhere.
So
Hmm.
more and every
Yeah.
year, more and more people are losing mothers and fathers and grandparents and sons and daughters, brothers and sisters,
Husbands,
cousins,
wives.
aunts and uncles,
Last
husbands,
year,
wives. Yes.
I had a cousin that was shot in front of his son. His son is, I think he just made 6. Um, his granddad actually shot his dad in front of his son over some.
Wow.
It was so silly, so stupid for them to take their young boy's life. He was only 22.
Mm,
It was
mm.
so crazy that he shot. And my cousin now is still fighting. We marching. We going to the mayor and the alderman because the man is still walking around. Um, it wasn't warranted. He didn't want to pay him his money. Like he owed him some money, and he shot the boy over money that he
It ha-
borrowed. It just to take that. He was only 22, and you took him from his son, from his
Yeah.
mother, from brothers. They was very close, and he was an entrepreneur. I mean, this young man was an entrepreneur. I mean,
Wow.
he did so many things. He was very talented in music, and like I say, he had a son. I'm happy that she was left with a baby, with his son, but still,
It's not the
that's
same.
just it's senseless.
Yeah.
Senseless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it any different because it's in a different town or a different state, or it's done by a white person versus a black person? Is it any different?
I don't think colors and states matter. I think just humanity, different humans experiencing similar situations, you can empathize with each other.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that
The only
matters.
the only time I think about race is sometimes I do think that there's this sense of, especially authority,
Oh yes, that's
people
different.
in
Yeah,
authority.
yeah,
Sometimes, and this is just my opinion, that sometimes I don't know if they look for people who kill certain
yeah,
people.
Right.
Sometimes I
exactly.
think there are times that, matter of fact, we have a singer here in Houston. Her name is Tiffany Rochelle, whose son was murdered
Mm,
last year. And he
wow.
was murdered, allegedly murdered by a police officer. Um,
Mm,
and she's fighting now because the grand jury would not convict him. Um,
no,
and I think he was shot in the back. But the thing about it is, this police officer had shot another person as well some years ago, and nothing happened to him as well. So she's working really hard here in Houston, to fight, not just for her son, but for all our black boys, black and brown boys, to not, and our sons, our daughters may not be perfect, but there are
no,
times that it's not meant for them to be murdered. They don't have to
no.
be killed in order
And you
to
know what?
arrest them.
I'm
Hmm.
sorry,
Oh, you're good.
Trina. What you're saying, it's a difference of color.
Hmm.
It's a difference now that is prevalent that I know everywhere. When it's a
Yeah.
brown, especially our brown,
Hmm.
the cases are rarely solved. They really don't do any investigating. I mean, just from experiences in my family, it it is sad how so many unsolved cases for our young black men and
Hmm.
girls, not just
Yeah.
men, are not being
Hmm.
solved.
Hmm.
It's just
Hmm.
absolutely disheartening sometimes when you look at how we are treated. It really makes me angry sometimes
Yeah,
of how
especially when
we
they're
are
not
being
found
treated.
guilty, or people. Sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
there's a video. I mean, go way back to Rodney. What was this, Rodney? Y'all know who I'm
King.
talking about. That's a shame, Rodney King. um,
Yeah.
there's a video. Like, it's
Like,
clear,
hello.
and you
Yeah.
still, like, that is just crazy, and it's crazy that it's still happening
Yeah.
over and over and over. And we're like looking at this. It's like, did you just not, this whole jury didn't see what I saw?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Hey, country boy, any thoughts?
He's muted.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to say this real quick. I agree that there is a difference, but I have to tell you, it's not a color difference. It's an economic difference.
Mm.
Um, I must be very, very clear about that because there are families out there that are Anglos, and because they're on a different economic plateau, they get the same treatment. So let's not just think that it's color. Um, it depends on where you are in this thing, and that's for real. That that I know for sure, um, because there's a little white boy, little white girl that's been murdered, that's been killed, that the police do absolutely nothing because their family didn't meet the economic care about me. That's a good one. The economic care about me, and there's a line that's an economic care about me in this country, and we have to be very, very, very clear about that. Um, you know, there's a lot of wrong that goes on. Gun violence, the murders and that go on in our cities. But we, the citizens, when are we going to stand and hold people accountable? When are we going to hold people accountable? When are we going to call it? When are we going to get out there and do what we need to do? What's that saying? Injustice to anybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. Injustice is injustice. Wrong is wrong. It don't matter about me, about no color, nothing else. Wrong is wrong across the board. And
Yeah, Country Boy, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you, but we've got to be clear. We've got to be clear. We can't act like we cannot do that to our people. We cannot act like that there's not a lot. I get it. There might be a couple of little Caucasian folks running around here that may have gotten shot for something.
And that may be because you don't hear about it. That's maybe because you don't hear.
That.
But it's real. It is real across the board.
I understand it's real. But
and that's the division. But that's the division that's used. If I only get out here and I'm gonna support when it's my color, if that don't you understand? That's divide and conquer. That's the real of it.
I don't agree. I think statistically we know that we are being killed and hunted down and killed oftentimes. And you mentioned something about us not getting out there and doing things, or when are we going to make people accountable? We've done that. I mean, it may not be all the time, but we've been marching a long time. We've been marching and fussing and holding signs up. We've been doing that for some years. So we do get out there and do what we're supposed to do. And I mean, they come with us too, to be honest with you. I mean, we march. So I don't agree with that. We're not making people accountable. We're trying to, but contrary to what you may think, and your opinion is valid, but we've just got to make sure that we are very, very, very clear that it's a lot of us.
Maybe it may seem as though we're not holding folks or more folks accountable because the gun violence is happening too often, too frequent, too much. Too many people are being hurt. Too many people are being losing their lives over it. So maybe that because of that, it seems as though no one's doing anything or we're not doing enough. But I do agree with Lil Diva that we are. A lot of us are. A lot of us are not, but a lot of us are. And so what we need is we just need more people to stand up and raise their voices and say no to guns, or not no to guns, but no to military style weapons. Right?
And we need to be fighting for them to do background checks. You should not be able to have a gun if you have some mental health issues or
which is beyond ridiculous to me, because we need to undergo a credit check to get a mortgage or to get a car. Okay,
a deep dive into our credit.
With this man, though, with people like him, though, we could do all kind of checks. He checked out fine. Like with people like him, he checked out fast. I think there, to me, have to be more thorough in aftercare with these soldiers. I think they need to have aftercare for a certain amount of time to make sure that they can mentally handle transitioning back into civilian lifestyle. I think those things, and to make sure that mentally they're checking in and that they pay attention to the signs. But truly, what can we really do? We just those little things, but you really don't know because some people that deal with mental issues, they talk. I know I deal with them. They talk better than we do. They work well. They
Almost
are
like a
in this.
functional drinker,
Yeah.
Yes,
a
they are
functional drug
very
user.
intelligent. Yeah, I have intelligent conversations with them all the time. They speak very properly, you know. So, but it is some that are more severe, you know, where you can tell all the cards are not in the deck.
Some just
You
ain't,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
you can tell.
The bread ain't baked all the way.
right.
Well,
All right.
if Country Boy can say one more thing, then I'm gonna shut up.
Don't
I'm gonna
tell
shut
them.
up, Esther. I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna go on over here with my baby. Listen, I have a question. Here I go. Here's my thoughts on this. They found Osama bin Laden underground, okay, in a cave. They knew where he was at. They sent out a text not too long ago and beeped everybody's phone in the United States. Now you gonna tell me they don't know when the guns coming in and who got them or
Yes, they
where
do.
nobody's at? That's all I got to say.
They
I'm gonna shut
do.
up from there.
They
Now
do.
you see all these movies that's coming out. We know the government is putting this stuff in neighborhoods. I mean, we know it's a plan. We've seen that over and over and over and over again. Especially in the black. I see a documentary about them putting guns in the neighborhood, just sitting them in there so someone could pick them up. It's crazy. It's a community. When what you were saying, country boy, I do think with us it's a community issue. You know, like we have to deal with the fatherless children. We have to deal with these children learning how to be more emotionally intelligent. We have to learn. Some people are dealing with crazy things at home. It's a lot. It's not just it's a lot that our community deals with, and that's why a lot of these young boys and girls are putting themselves in different situations as far as killing each other. Um, Senseless killings, just shooting over stupid stuff, you know, over territory that ain't even yours. It's not even yours. And that's not even your block. You don't own one house on there. You don't got no
Mm-hmm.
stake. Okay, soon as you shot, you gonna move off that pavement and somebody gonna take your place. It's a whole lie. The street life stuff is a lie. It's a whole facade. It ain't even like it used to be. People don't have that code. No, you just a product. You just a casualty. You know, so that's I think when we deal with the problems in our community, then that's gonna help with the violence, with these with these people with us,
I
you
agree.
know, murdering each
I
other.
agree with that point as well. Last point that I want to make. I'm going to ask the question to all three of y'all. Ovita, are you against guns or are you against gun violence?
I'm against gun violence. I'm not
Trina,
really against guns per se, because I think we need guns. You know, I want to carry me a gun. You know, out here. I'm gonna go
right?
get me a concealed carry. I mean, you know, it's crazy, but I'm not against gun. I'm just against gun violence. I think
Trina,
we need more education.
I didn't hear your question. I'm so sorry.
are you against guns or are you against gun violence?
I'm not against guns. I'm against guns violence for sure. And people being able to get their hands on guns. And I am against the war guns, the guns of war. I totally against those.
Country boy?
Oh no, I ain't against no guns. I think everybody need one. Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you this. See, folks got these guns out here. You want these automatic things? Let me tell you. Let me give you a gun education. Get you a good shotgun with a whole bunch of pellets in that thing. Let me tell you, you could. That's called scatterbucks. Them little pellets in there. You get you a shotgun. Get you a 12 gauge,
I
12
heard
gauge.
those hurt.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's called scatterbuck. Okay. See, when y'all talking about, you gotta. And here, okay, I'm gonna shut up after this. Do these folks not know the price of ammunition? That's why I wouldn't even go to a shooting range. It costs too much. I ain't finna be wasting that on nothing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
sure
done.
does.
I'm
It
You know,
sure
he have a point with
does.
them pellet guns. That might be what the gun I get. I might give me a pellet gun.
Old country boy talking truth. It's expensive. Yes, it is expensive to go to a shooting range. It surely is. So my
Mhm.
point of saying that is because, of course, uh, with this newest circumstance of gun violence, you've got some on the right that again are calling out to Democrats and saying, or to non-Republicans saying that all Democrats are against guns, that don't like guns, that want to get rid of the Second Amendment. And I want to make it clear for the millionth time that no, all non-Republicans are not against, excuse me, guns. We are against gun violence. We are against stupid practices that are allowing these people to get their hands on guns. We are against not having background checks. We are against not be the not having the bipartisan atmosphere of everyone banding together to do something to try to cut down on these senseless killings. That is what Democrats and independents are about. They're not about getting rid of the Second Amendment. I am not for gun violence, but I am definitely for the Second Amendment. I
Having the right.
Country boy was mentioned a shotgun. I've got a shotgun in my house. You come into my house unannounced. You gonna meet a stranger that you're not gonna like. Okay, but that's in protection of my house. I would never vote at under any circumstance to get rid of my Second Amendment right. Okay, but I am for change. I am for common sense ideas to lessen the killings and the innocent blood that's being spilt with these military style weapons, right? Especially our children, especially our children. It's a shame that when innocent families lives are forever disrupted because of folks like this. It's a shame that we can't have common sense ideas and come together and sit down and talk with one another as to what common sense ideas we can come against to try to avoid even one shooting, if that's possible. It's really bad that shooting after shooting after shooting, you still have one group of people saying, "Nope, I'm for the guns. Nope, I'm for the guns." In fact, it was on. There was a report today that Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert is thinking of putting a bill in Congress, making the AR-15 the national gun of the United States of America.
Now
Now,
that's
first of
just
all,
crazy.
crazy, right? Great. First of all, where do you find the time to do that? You talk about our economy, you talk about gas prices and food and all of that, but you're not sitting down with the opposite side to try to mend that. You want to propose a bill to make a military weapon the weapon of choice of America. It's
America.
absolutely insane.
Insane.
Backwards.
Ass
Backwards.
backwards.
Ass backwards. Yes, but that's what's going on. So you wonder to yourself, no wonder why these things just keep happening. They just keep happening because there are not enough common sense bipartisan leaders in our house to be able to say, no, something's got to give. Something has got to give.
And it
As
has not knocked on enough of their front doors.
and it's not enough on their front doors, which is what's sad if you really think about it. So somebody in their family needs to die by gun violence for them to kind of
Wake up.
get it. Really? So can you blame the people who are wishing, hoping, and praying that somebody in their families gets it? Can you blame them?
Right, right.
No, no, you can't. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Country Boy. Thank you, Miss Trina, Little Diva. And thank you, Miss Ovita from Illinois. Thank you all for joining me on this subject. I'm sure we will be back here again for the next shooting, unfortunately. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Good night,
So,
everybody.
good. Feel better, Miss Ovita.
Listen, thank you. I'm
There,
ready for
there,
the
there you
bed.
have another gun shooting, another situation where we just hold our hearts, we tear a little bit, and we just wonder, when is this going to stop? Because so far it hasn't. We're about to end 2023, and it hasn't. In fact, in the next month or two, when they start coming out with the yearly reports, we're going to come and see exactly how many people in total for this year has been killed by guns, or murdered by guns. In fact, I think I had read a report that recently says that gun murders by guns is now the number one way that Americans are dying. I believe I read that, and it's probably true, because people are dying from guns every every day, every day. And all we do is pray. We pray for change, and we try to lift our voices for change. And even if no one's going to hear us today, we'll try again tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, we'll try again the day after. And we will continue trying and continue trying until something is done, whether in a bipartisan manner, or the folks that refuse to bring in some common sense rules and regulations that everyone could agree to. Those folks being voted out of office, and bring in new folks, different folks that are willing to talk, are willing to come to the table. And we're not even saying that you have to agree right away. No, let's start with coming to the table. Let's start with saying yes to a discussion. Now, some folks might say, well, we've done so much of that already. We've talked about it, and that could be true too. But my opinion, we just need to keep talking. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. And maybe one of these days, we'll get through. We'll pierce through. We'll chip away at those folks whose hearts are stubborn and obstinate to change, to trying to do away with such hateful killings with these military style weapons. And no, we're not saying do away with the Second Amendment. We're not saying that at all. But I want to remind everybody that AR-15s um, did not exist centuries ago when the Constitution and the amendments were created. Uh, AR-15s did not exist then. And so for those to say, no, you're trying to take our guns away. No, we're not. But we would like to take away AR-15s. We would like to take military style weapons off the streets. Then some may say, yeah, but that's only going to take it away from the good guy. The bad guy is still going to get it. But the bad guy right now has options to the legal weapons and the illegal weapons. So it's double dosage that the bad guy is able to get, just so that the good guy can have weapons. I've also read a report that there are over like 300 million weapons out, which is preposterous to me. It's just like, wow. But it makes sense, because every time they do grab a bad guy, that bad guy doesn't have one or two weapons in their home. That bad guy has 10, 15 weapons in their home. And I like to say, what does anybody, what can they do with all of that? But some may then say, well, they collect guns. It's a hobby. And I could see that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, you got people, innocent people that are dying just for you to have your hobby. And it's my opinion of saying that, but something has got to give. We at the Esteban Hour, we send our prayers, our hearts, and our love to all of the families that have been affected, of those who lost their lives by this shooter in Maine. We wish them well as they go through their sorrow and their grief. And we always continue to pray for hope and change, that one day, someday, we will be able to see less innocent blood being shelled, whether it's in a supermarket, on the street, in your car, in a school. It's been time to say no to AR-15s, AK-47s, whatever, any type of military style weapons. It's past time to say no, enough is enough. Please let me know what you think on this sound off. Send me your questions or your comments in regards to today's topic on guns and the unfortunate shooting that has just occurred in the great state of Maine. We will respond as quickly as we can, as well as please like and follow the share and share the live if you can, at the Esteban Hour on all social media platforms. If you have a goal that you've accomplished or achieved today, don't forget to say to yourself, this is how we do it. Enjoy the rest of the week.